Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome to another episode of African Confessions HD on Extraordinary Africa. I'm your host, Solution Uncle, here with a story that has taken social media by storm. It's a story of love, betrayal, heartbreak, and tragedy that we call or learn from. Today, we are talking about Sbusiso Lawrence, a young man from South Africa, and his girlfriend, Non-Tobacco. Their relationship began with a love, but sadly ended in heartbreak and sorrow. This story has stirred many emotions online, and I'll be sharing some of your reactions later in the episode. There's a lot which is starting to emerge from the comments. People are commenting, and a lot of new information is coming. Let's dive in. Sbusiso Lawrence was deeply in love with Non-Tobacco. They dated for a while, and during this time, Non-Tobacco became pregnant, but not by him. Lawrence was heartbroken, but decided to forgive her. Yeah, supported financially, even covering the cost of the baby. Things changed when government funding started coming in for the child. Non-Tobacco chose to leave Lawrence. She ended their relationship, and this made Lawrence feel comfortably betrayed. Unfortunately, he couldn't handle the situation and took actions that ended both their lives. Before his passing, Lawrence confessed everything on Facebook, and his words have left many people shocked. However, Non-Tobacco's family shared that she had been suffering in the relationship. They claim she was once hospitalized for a long time due to his actions. This situation has led to conversations about love, forgiveness, and emotions My control. Friend, this is a tragic story with so many lessons to learn. Now, let's hear what people are saying online. We have gathered some of the comments from social media platforms around the world. These are real feelings and thoughts that this story has brought out. Let's take a look. This is so sad. No matter what happens in a relationship, it should never end like this. Praying for the families involved. This is Zama from South Africa. Thank you, Zama, for sharing your comment with us. And this was another comment from Lorato in South Africa. My name is Lorato, and I can't help but see parts of my own story in this. A few years ago, I fell deeply in love with someone who seemed perfect at first. Tabo was charming and caring, and for a while, I thought I would find my forever partner, but things started to change when I became pregnant. I didn't know how to tell him because at the time I would made a mistake. The child wasn't his. I was scared he would leave me, so I kept the secret. When he found out, he was furious but chose to forgive me. He promised to stay and supported me through everything. And for a while, it seemed like we have moved past the betrayal. Tabo held me through the pregnancy, took care of all the medical bills, and even stood by me in the hospital during the birth. But deep down, I knew he wasn't okay. He would make comments like, "You owe me your life," or "I gave up my pride for you." I could feel his anger simmering beneath the surface. When the baby turned one, I started receiving child support from the government. That's when things got worse. Tabo began to resent me. He accused me of using him and said I only stayed with him for financial reasons. One night during a heated argument, he told me he'd never forgive me for ruining his life. I knew it was time to leave. It wasn't easy, but I decided to move in with my mother. Tabo was furious. He followed me to my new place and begged me to come back. He promised he would change, but I knew it wasn't safe anymore. Looking back, I'm grateful I left when I did. Tabo and I never spoke again, but I hope he found peace. To anyone in a situation like mine, I want to say this: forgiveness is beautiful, but it should never come at the cost of your safety. Always prioritize your well-being. And this was another comment from Kelvin. This story reminds me so much of my experience with my ex-fiance Amaka. We were together for 5 years, and I thought we had a future together. I was ready to get married, but things took a turn when I found out she had been unfaithful. She came to me one evening and told me she was pregnant. I was overjoyed, but then she confessed the baby wasn't mine. I was crushed and I couldn't believe the woman I loved had betrayed me like that. But after a few days, I decided to forgive her. I told myself love was about sacrifice and I didn't want to lose her. I supported her throughout the pregnancy, attending every doctor's appointment, and even helped her prepare for the baby's arrival. When the baby was born, I was the one who gave her a name. I treated the child as my own because in my heart, I believed love would conquer anything. But things changed when Amaka started receiving financial assistance for the child. She began she became distant and started spending more time with the baby's biological father. One day, she told me she couldn't be with me anymore because she wanted to give a child a chance to grow up with a real father. I was devastated. I felt used and discarded, but instead of letting anger consume me, I turned to God for strength and I left everything behind and moved to a new city to start fresh life. It wasn't easy, but with time I healed. Now I'm married to a wonderful woman and we have two beautiful children. My message to anyone going through something similar is this: pain is temporary, but your actions can have lasting consequences. Choose peace even when it's hard. And there is another comment from South Africa. My story might not be as tragic, but it's taught me lessons I will never forget. I was 22 when I met Brian. He was everything I wanted in a partner: kind, supportive, and hardworking. We dated for 3 years, and during that time, we made so many plans for our future. One day, I found out I was pregnant, and I was scared but also excited. When I told Brian, his reaction shocked me. He was cold and distant, and I could tell something was wrong. Eventually, he admitted he had doubts about whether the baby was his. I had made a mistake early in our relationship, and Brian knew about it, but I assured him the baby was his. He didn't believe me. For months, he treated me with suspicion and anger, and it was a dark time in our relationship. But I held on because I believed we could work things out. When our daughter was born, Brian apologized for everything and promised to be the best father he could be. I thought things would get better, but they didn't. Brian became controlling and jealous. He constantly accused me of cheating, even when I wasn't doing anything wrong. One day, after a heated argument, I decided I couldn't take it anymore. I packed my bags and left with my daughter. It was the hardest decision I have ever made, but it was the right one. Now I'm in a better place, focusing on raising my child and building a future for us. My advice to anyone in a similar situation is this: love yourself enough to walk away when a relationship becomes toxic. Your peace of mind is worth more than anything. And this is comments, ladies and gentlemen. I've been married for 10 years now. But there was a time when I almost lost everything. My wife and I met in university and we fell in love quickly. We got married after graduation and started a family soon after. Everything seemed perfect until I disclosed and discovered my wife had been seeing someone also. He confessed and begged for forgiveness, and because I loved it, I decided to give our marriage a chance. It wasn't easy. I struggled with trust issues, and even argument seemed to bring up the past. I felt like I was losing myself trying to hold everything together. One day, my wife told me she was pregnant again. I was happy, but deep down, I couldn't help but wonder if the baby was mine. Those thoughts ate away at me and it affected how I treated her. After the baby was born, we decided to seek counseling. It was the best decision we ever made. Through therapy, I learned to forgive her completely and she learned how to rebuild my trust. It took years, but we are stronger now than we have ever been. My message to anyone going through a similar situation is this: forgiveness is powerful, but it takes effort from both sides. Don't be afraid to seek help when you need it. And I can't stop thinking about how close my story is to this one. I was in a relationship with someone I thought I would spend the rest of my life with. Kwame and I had been together, um, and I had been together for 4 years. When we started having problems, I found out he had been unfaithful. And shortly after I discovered I was pregnant, I didn't know what to do. When I told Kwame, he was surprisingly supportive. He promised to change and there for me and the baby. For a while, things were good. Kwame was attentive and caring. I started to believe we could make it work. But after the baby was born, things took a turn. He became distant and started blaming me for everything that had gone wrong in our relationship. One day during an argument, he said he regretted ever forgiving me. Those words, yet more than anything else, I realized then that forgiveness isn't always enough to fix a problem. I decided to leave and focus on raising my child. Kwame is still in our lives as a father, but we are better off apart. To anyone in a similar situation, I want to say this. Sometimes letting go is the best thing you can do for yourself and your child. No matter what happens in a relationship, it should never end like this. Praying for the families involved. This is Zama from South Africa. Thank you, Zama, for sharing your comment with us. And anonymous Nigerian, why do we let emotions control us so much? Both were wrong in different ways, but life should never be lost. And there's this comment from Kenya. We try by all means to balance. I went through something similar with my ex. It's important to leave a toxic relationship early before it's too late. And this is John K from USA. This story makes me question relationships. Are people really this fragile? We need to teach our children about emotional strength. And Hopewell from Ghana, you said, I feel for both of them. Love can be messy, but we must learn to be let go when things don't work out. And this is Pretty from South Africa. Pretty T, how are you and your family? Non-Table's family says she suffered for a long time. This was not love, it was control. She deserved better. This is a comment from you, our sister, and anonymous Uganda. This is why I always tell my friends, don't mix love with money. It brings problems. And this is Mike Lava from Canada. You are saying this is not love, it's obsession. People need to understand the difference. And Mufo from Botswana, you are saying, I'm crying for the child left behind. Who will take care of the baby now? And why so? From United Kingdom, you are saying relationships can be so dangerous if both people don't handle their emotions properly. Rest in peace to both of them. And from India, just me send us this comment. Men need to be taught how to handle rejection. Violence is never the answer. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Anonymous Tanzania, love makes people blind. Lawrence should have walked away when he realized she didn't love him back. And another comment from Ghana, parents, let's teach our children self control. This story didn't have to end this way. And another comment from South Africa, Truth Teller, government grants should never ruin relationships. This is said. And a comment from Zimbabwe. My heart breaks for both families. Let's pray for healing. Real talk from United States of America. You are saying stories like this are why I stay single. Love is too risky. Another comment from South Africa. Lawrence was wrong, but non-tobacco should have been honest from the start. Honesty saves lives. Another comment from Nigeria. This is not about love. It's about respect. Both parties failed. Rwanda, anonymous person from Rwanda, you are saying, I feel for the baby. This is a reminder to always think about the future before making decisions. Joyce Mom from Kenya, as a mother, I am heartbroken. What could have been done to prevent this? Silke from South Africa, you are saying relations need boundaries and respect. Without that, tragedy follows. Anonymous from Lesotho, you are saying people need counseling. Both were struggling emotionally and it ended badly. Strong word from United Kingdom, you are saying love doesn't mean ownership. Let people go if they want to leave. Bella Truth, South Africa. This is a lesson to all of us. Always seek help when emotions become too much. Peacemaker from Uganda. Violence never solves problems. We need to talk about peaceful solutions. Loving Life from USA. How many more tragedies will it take for us to learn about emotional intelligence? Someone from India just commented, both made mistakes, but life is precious. Let's educate our youth about love and forgiveness. And there's this comment from Nigeria again. Rest in peace to both of them. May their families find strength. Wise choice from South Africa. You're saying this is a warning to everyone in toxic relationships. Leave before it's too late. And someone anonymous from Zimbabwe are saying love is beautiful, but only when it's healthy. This was not a healthy love. There are a lot of comments which keep coming